If you've been searching for that perfect blend of nature, family-friendly living, and community spirit, you're going to love West Linn, Oregon. Let us show you why.
Let's go. My name's Aaron Cullen, and this is Brianna Cullen, and together we have a real estate company right here in Portland, Oregon. If you guys are looking to make a move out here to West Linn or Portland in general, go ahead and reach out, give us a call. You can set up a Zoom, the link below. All right, let's jump right into it. Today's a really fun topic because we love West Linn, and we live in Lake Oswego, which is right next to West Linn, but we help clients all the time move to West Linn.
Yeah, just to say, we have a lot of happy clients who have relocated into the Portland metro. Our happiest clients of all time moved into West Linn. So we're going to talk about what it's like to live here and all the reasons they love it so much. Today, we are in Old Town Willamette, which is like the old downtown of West Linn.
It's historic.
It is super charming down here. And it's a little quiet because it's like 11 a.m. on a Monday, but on the weekends and in the evenings and for like festivals, all of that we'll get into. This place is buzzing down here.
Yeah.
And I think the first thing that a lot of people look into when they're moving to the Portland area is schools.
Number one priority for a lot of people that are moving to this area. So let's jump right into that subject.
West Linn and Wilsonville, which is the neighboring community, have a joint school district. It also includes Stafford Hamlet, which is a more rural area. And that school district, the West Linn Wilsonville, is typically rated like number 2 in the state of Oregon, right?
Yep.
It's right at the very top.
It's always in the top 3, pretty much. Every year they kind of do new rankings, but it's always in the top 3. Kind of usually have like Lake Oswego, West Linn, and Sherwood as kind of the number 1, 2, 3. And just to give you a little context of the size, there's 9 elementary schools, 3 middle schools, and 3 high schools. It might sound like a lot of high schools, a lot of middle schools. To me, it kind of does. One of the middle schools and one of the high schools is part of the hamlet called Stafford. Now it's right in between Lake Oswego and West Linn. So if you're living in West Linn, you're probably gonna go to the one middle school in West Linn, or if you're in Wilsonville, you go to the one middle school in Wilsonville, and the same with the high school. So each of them have their own high school, but they share the same resources in the same school district.
Yeah, I grew up in a town with exactly 3 high schools, so it just seems very normal to me.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it would.
It's a great school district. I think a lot of people move here for the schools who are, raising kids, and top schools are high on their priority list, both for academics and for sports and athletics.
Oh, and I can hear a little train in the distance here. That is something that people are kind of surprised about, that yes, there are working trains here in Portland. So there's a lot of port activity still to this day. And working railroads, a lot of people are surprised by that. Even in these like higher upper scale communities like West Linn and Lake Oswego, you're still gonna have railroad lines that are still working commercial lines to this day.
One thing about West Linn that I think is just useful context is that it really feels like a small town right on the edge of like country living or rural living, even more than Lake Oswego does. It's a little bit further out from Portland. It just feels very small town and rural here. So having like an old town like this and a train going through it, it kind of feels just right. It feels very wholesome here. And I think you have to want that more rural environment. Like this is not the Portland of sort of gritty, creative craftsmen in the Southeast. This is a totally different Portland.
Totally different Portland.
One more thing about the schools. This is just completely anecdotally, aside from the clients that we have and the friends that we have here who have a great experience sending their kids to the schools here. But we belong to a family athletic club very nearby, and there's a kids club there. And all of the young people who work at the kids club are teenagers, and they basically all go to West Linn High School. And it's just like the sweetest bunch of teenagers that you could ever imagine. And I'm sure, not everyone here is that wonderful, but they really are so wonderful. We just found out.
Yeah, they really are nice. They do all seem like really trustworthy.
Like good, down-to-earth kids, great with kids. We just found out that our babysitter was the homecoming queen of West Linn High School. And she's like just the kindest person. Our kids love her so much. Anyway,
there you go.
That's my last comment on the schools. As you said, I was getting into more of the sort of community feel here.
Yeah, okay, great segue. Let's segue into community feel and community events. which West Linn has a lot of.
Like concerts in the park, and actually right where we are today, they have an annual St. Patrick's Day festival down here. We've been here a couple of years with the kids. The streets are lined up with all kinds of different like booths and
they'll have them all right down the sidewalks here, all down behind us. Kids love it. It's a lot of fun.
They have a scavenger hunt, so the kids get like very invested in finding everything.
Last year we met a couple other families down here that have kids as well. It's just a lot of fun for the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And right across the street over here is Brew Pub that's connected with a bunch of food trucks. And this is like a huge gathering place. People from Lake Oswego come over here to eat all the time on nice days. We meet friends over here just to sit outside and have some lunch with the kids or a beer. It's a great gathering spot. And I think that sort of captures the feeling down here. Like on a weekend or a festival down here, everyone's here.
Yeah, it's packed. You know, there's no parking on the main street. You're gonna get parking off into the neighborhoods. But yeah, with the community events, West Linn definitely rivals Lake Oswego. And I'd say on some community events, we'll come down here versus going to Lake Oswego. So that's one of the like really cool aspects I like about having access and being close to West Linn is they do have a lot of community events that they do down here.
And then it's just a strong sense of community. People are really proud to live here and a lot of tight-knit neighborhoods. We have some clients here and we've been to a couple parties at their house and it's all of their neighbors have become really like their best friends within the few years that they've lived here.
So if you're thinking about moving here, you might be thinking, hey, I need a place to live. So let's talk about homes right here in West Linn. There are a ton of neighborhoods just like Lake Oswego. You're gonna have a lot of these like smaller neighborhoods that make up all of West Linn. It can be a little bit overwhelming because West Linn is like a really pretty big area. First, let's just talk about where we are right now in the historic Willamette. So the Willamette neighborhood is a great choice and it just helped a client move into Willamette. And the great number one benefit about moving to this part of the neighborhood is the walkability.
Yeah, this would be like living in First Edition in Lake Oswego. Like I would definitely want to live right near this area in West Linn because you can walk to everything that this historic district has to offer. And then you're also close to the Willamette River.
So your median price point in West Linn is gonna be that $780,000 to $800,000. But that price point really is gonna differ depending on which neighborhood you choose. A lot of neighborhoods, might be pushing more towards that $1 million mark. Other neighborhoods that are a little bit older with some smaller homes, you can definitely get under that price point. You can get some brand new builds that builders are doing infill projects. We toured one that was just amazing, and that was right at about $2 million. But it was 3/4 1 acre property with its own little pond, brand new house, 3,500 square feet.
We go and see a lot of houses and there's not that many where I'm like, I'm moving in, and that one was really
you
special.
did love that house.
I loved that house.
But there are other neighborhoods that have just great views. And that's one of the cool things I do like about West Linn is there are a lot of areas that have these really cool views of mountains in the distance or of the Willamette River. And you do have a lot of them that do have access to the river because there's a bunch of parks around here that have boat access. So you could put in your paddleboard and kayak. So if that's a priority, there's neighborhoods you could live in that are walking distance to that. Or if you want one that's a view, there's neighborhoods for that. If you want something that's newer built, there's a lot of communities here that were kind of all built at once. Lake Oswego doesn't really have that. You want that upper scale suburban feel. Everything's nicely manicured, tree-lined streets. West Linn has that as well. I would definitely encourage you to reach out to me and I can share some more detailed information that I can't cover all in this video.
Yeah, I was gonna say the homes in West Linn on average are probably newer and bigger than the Portland metro in general. And Lake Oswego has a lot of very outdated housing stock and a lot of the neighborhoods like you mentioned in West Linn are just that bit newer where they still feel fresh and fairly modern.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you're looking at about a 20% premium in Lake Oswego versus West Linn for what you can get. So West Linn, you can get a newer house and 20% say cheaper than you could for something comparable in Lake Oswego.
Right, you just definitely get more bang for your buck here in West Linn.
Your median home price in the city of Portland is about $550,000 to $600,000, where the median here is at $780,000 to $800,000. So there is a bit of a price increase, a spread there. So it is definitely more of that luxury type neighborhood.
And then also, if you're looking for a big property, like you're looking for land or a riverfront property, you're looking for acreage, West Linn can be a great option.
Absolutely.
Going into Stafford, because there are just some absolutely spectacular properties that are kind of on the edge of rolling farmland and hills and creeks. It's a scenic beauty. Driving through there is really one of my favorite things about living here. You just helped some clients. They're like moving in. When do they get here? They haven't even landed at their house yet.
No, any day.
And what's that, 5 acres?
That was, 5 acres, a little over the 2 million mark. And they're just really stoked and excited. They're from England, and so they really love the rolling hills, of like the picturesque that you think of the Cotswolds. And that area of West Linn and Stafford has that.
Like views 360 degrees, right?
It's amazing. So if you're looking for that to be a little bit further out of town, but again, you're close, great school district, you're close to amenities, close to downtown, right on the outskirts, Stafford is a great option. And that's in West Linn, and feeds into the West Linn School District. So part of that is unincorporated Clackamas. And again, if that's an area you're interested in, go ahead and reach out and I can give you a little bit more detailed information on that. All right, let's get into nature. What do you want to talk about with nature? Nature, I mean...
That was a perfect segue because we're talking about views and rolling farmland and the nature in West Linn. Really, you're surrounded by hills and again, the Willamette River and just like those long views. A lot of homes have views of Mount Hood, hiking through Mary S. Young Park or kayaking, boating, any of that on the Willamette River. I feel like the experience of nature here, you don't have to be like a hardcore outdoorsy person. It's more just, you can be, absolutely, and make the most of it here, but it's more about the beauty of everyday life, these tree-lined streets. It's October right now and the leaves are changing. It's just gorgeous down here. And then also you're close to vineyards and wineries, that type of nature. So you've got Tumwater, which is a delicious vineyard.
That's one of my favorite local.
Pete's Mountain. And there's horse properties and small farms, Christmas tree farms and pumpkin patches and berry picking. A lot of that is out here in West Linn. You can just see from like the view around us. We just stepped off the main street to the first block of residential and it is so quiet right here. Just trees and birds and beauty.
Don't forget the butterflies. Yeah, it's just really gorgeous here. And that's one of the things I really like about West Linn. It really has that diverse neighborhood feeling to it. Like if you want this, you're gonna have historic homes in this neighborhood and on this street. Or if you want those homes that, hey, they were just built last year, West Linn has that as well. And then when it comes to nature, there are so many trees all around West Linn. But I'd say one of the things that other people might not tell you is that a lot of the neighborhoods don't have as many trees as like Lake Oswego. If you're scared of having trees too close to your house, maybe West Linn is a good option for you because some people want a lot more sun.
You get a lot more natural light if you're not like surrounded by forest.
Exactly. And so they kind of cleared a lot of the trees in West Linn and some of the newer areas when they were building, because again, they were kind of bigger builders that would go in there, clear a lot of the trees, build the houses, the lots, and then replant new trees. So depending on the age of that neighborhood, just in general, you're gonna have more sunlight, a little bit less trees, but they have a ton of parks. Our favorite ones, my son was playing soccer in there in the spring, was the Mary S. Young Park. That park is huge and goes all the way to the river as well. If you're into paddleboarding, kayaking, boating, all those options are really easily available to you. And you have multiple options.
And we're walking down this like family neighborhood street with lots of Halloween decorations and people getting into the spirit. We've never been trick-or-treating down here, but it looks like it would probably be a great spot.
Yeah, it really does. And they have a great park actually just right down the street, like 4 blocks this way. Showed you guys some of that footage of our kids playing in that park. And that again goes right up to the river, the Willamette River. That's one of the cool things living in West Linn is there's so much nature. Hiking trails, the Willamette River goes around like 2 parts of West Linn. Plus you have the Tualatin River that also cuts through it.
The Willamette River really does kind of like cocoon a lot of West Linn.
Yeah,
so
it
you
really
have
does.
it on both sides. Shopping, restaurants, cafes, that kind of thing in West Linn?
Yes, let's talk about that. Okay, we're one off the main street there of the historic Willamette.
I just got a coffee.
Yep. Oh yeah, let's
At
share
Cafe,
that.
and I sort of, just so you know, have a knack for good coffee. So wherever you're going, reach out and I will tell you which coffee shop you should eat at. Even if it's just somewhere I've been on vacation, I'm like, I guess you could call it a knack or an obsession.
Which coffee shop to eat at or drink at?
Both. There are some great local favorites right here in the historic Willamette district. I wouldn't say it's known for amazing dining.
West Linn in general,
yes,
you mean?
West Linn in general.
No, that's why it can be a con. I wouldn't say it's a restaurant desert, because it definitely isn't.
No.
But you just got to know the pockets. Like, this is one of the pockets in historic Willamette. There's a bunch of cool little places to eat at. They also have that food truck pod right there, the Willamette food truck pod, which is awesome. And they also have like a bar right there as well, where you can get drinks, tons of picnic bench seating. So that place is a great option. Plus they have a couple different pubs along there with your pub food, the Mexican.
Yeah, the cider house.
The cider house. They have a great Italian place. They have pretty much anything you could want. They have at least one choice, right? So they do have a lot of little strip mall areas throughout West Linn, which they're going to have restaurants kind of sprinkled throughout there as well.
Yeah, in a way, this sort of helps us segue to what are the commutes like from West Linn, because we know a lot of people who, for date night, they go to dinner in Lake Oswego or Portland. Where is West Linn, and what is the commute like from here into Portland?
With just normal traffic, not rush hour, you're looking at, say, like 20 to 30 minutes to get downtown Portland from West Linn. Again, it's going to depend like where you are in West Linn. There's multiple ways to get there. You got the 43, that's the scenic route along the Willamette River. Then you got the I-5 on the western edge, and then you have the 205, which is on the south edge of West Linn. So you've got a couple options there for your route. So it really just depends also on which route you're going to take, where you live, where you're going. Again, 20 to 30 minutes, but if it's rush hour, depending on the traffic, sometimes there's more congestion than others, you're looking at like 30 to 45 minutes is going to be kind of your commute time.
Yeah, I wouldn't say West Linn is like your top choice if you're commuting into downtown, and definitely not if you're commuting into like Beaverton or Hillsborough for, more tech work over there.
A lot of people do it.
A lot of people do it. We've gotten sort of spoiled living here and expecting like a short commute. So a lot lot of people do it.
Well, we work from home too. Yeah. We work from home, so our idea of a commute is, one of the clients we just helped move to this neighborhood we're walking in right now, they work at OHSU. So that commute is gonna be like 20 to 30 minutes is kind of your average commute. It's probably gonna be there if you're taking up the 43, or it could be a little bit longer if there's like heavy congestion.
Yeah, and then we have other clients who live here and work from home and probably like leave West Linn once a month.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is it's a self-contained small town. That's one of the great things about it, is that you're a self-contained small town. You have everything you need here, but you also have Portland with all of the amenities of a bigger city, an airport, medical care, all of that really close by.
Yeah, and some people will choose West Linn because you're really close to the 205 and you can get around to the airport a lot quicker in some cases than you could, say, from like Lake Oswego or Beaverton or Tigard over on the west side.
These clouds behind us look like CG or something.
Yeah,
it really is this cute down here.
Yeah, if it looks adorable, it's because it is. So if you guys are looking to make a move and West Linn sounds interesting to you, go ahead and reach out. My information's right down below. If you enjoyed this video and got a lot of information out of it, stay tuned for the next video coming up right now.